Today we are going to be looking at coefficients. But before we go into coefficient, let's quickly take a look at what variables are. Variables are the letters used in a term, equation, or an expression. Variables are the letters or symbols used in a term, equation, or an expression. You must have seen the way we used variables in our previous video where we looked at the evaluation of expressions, how to evaluate expressions. Okay, let's quickly take a look at some series of examples right here to better understand what variables are. If I have y right here, we say variables are the letters or symbols used in a term. This is a term right here. This is y. Y is the letter right here. So that tells us that y is the variable right here. Okay? Y is the variable right there. What about if we have 3a plus 4? 3a plus 4. This is an expression. Which one is the variable? A is the letter, right? So A is the variable right here. Take a look at this equation. 4x plus 2 equals to 9. Which one is the variable right here? If you take a look, the letter is x right here. X is our variable. Now let us go to what we call a coefficient. A coefficient is a number that multiplies a variable. Coefficient is a number that multiply a variable. Now let's come back to this example, 5y. If we say 5y, 5y simply means 5 times y. It means 5 times y. Okay? Coefficient is a number that multiply a variable. We already established this is our variable, right? It has already been established that this is our variable. This is the number that is multiplying our variable. 5 is the number, so that tells us that 5 is going to be the coefficient. 5 is the coefficient right here. So if you are asked that what is the coefficient of y right here, your answer is going to be 5, because coefficient is a number that multiply a variable. Let us take a look at another example. This is 3a. Let us bring out 3a right here. What is the coefficient of a? Take note also that 3a means 3 times a. 3 times a. Coefficient is the number that multiplies the variable. Therefore, 3 is going to give us the coefficient of a. So if you are asked what is the coefficient of a right here, your answer is 3. I hope you all are getting this concept. What about if I have negative 3a? Negative 3a. What is the coefficient of a? Take note that negative 3 is multiplying a, because this is negative 3 times a. So that tells me that the coefficient of a right here is negative 3. Okay, very good guys, very good, very good. This is interesting. What about if I have something like this? 1 over 2 x. What is the coefficient of x right here? If you take a look at this, 1 over 2x means 1 over 2 times x. So that means in this case also the coefficient of x is going to be 1 over 2. Okay, very easy guys, very easy. What about if I have negative 3 over 4 y? What is the coefficient of y? What is the coefficient of y? If you take a look at this, you have a negative right here. So that tells me that the coefficient of y is going to be negative 3 over 4. Very good, very good. So let us take a look at this. If I have this number right here, y, this is just a letter y. What is the coefficient right here? So if you have a letter y, okay, there is an invisible 1 right here, invisible 1 right here. So that means, this means 1 times y. Therefore, your coefficient in this case is going to be 1. So the coefficient of y is 1. What about if you have something like this, minus y, minus y? Also, this can be likened to this first one that we had right here. You also have an invisible 1 right here. So if there is an invisible 1 right here, that means our coefficient is going to be negative 1. Coefficient of y is going to be negative 1. Okay, now let us take a look at the last example right here. I have a squared plus 2b squared minus 4c plus 1 over 2d. Okay, so what is the coefficient of each of these letters? Let us just take a look at this just for us to better understand what we are talking about. This is a squared. If you take a look at this, there is an invisible 1 right here. Okay, so that means that the coefficient of a squared is 1, because we don't see anything there. And like we said, if you don't see any number in front of a letter like this, that means there is an invisible 1. That means this is 1 times a squared. So in that case, 1 is our coefficient. What about this? What is the coefficient of b squared? That is going to be 2, positive 2. Okay, positive 2, because you have this right here, positive 2 is the coefficient. What about this? What is the coefficient of c? That is going to be negative 4. Negative 4 is the coefficient of c. Okay, because that is the number that is multiplying c. What about this? What is the coefficient of d? That is going to be positive 1 over 2. Positive 1 over 2 is the coefficient of d. Alright guys, I hope you all understand this fundamental concept, because we are going to be using this a lot in algebra. Okay. Alright guys, I will encourage you to look at these videos very well until you are able to understand this concept. See you in the next class.